watching these movies shifts to the same frequency as the dark spiritual entity?
Does watching scary movies drop your frequency so you are going to be influenced by dark spiritual entity? I do not know this creator, so this is not a personal attack on them. I want to talk about what it looks like on a visual frequency level. When you are in communication to, I'm watching scary movies, and the whole adrenaline rush junkie, she's actually right. That is also very, very real. The part where she is incorrect is then you open yourself up to dark spiritual entity attachment. Let me correct myself for a moment. I really would need to sit down in front of her and ask her, what do you mean by dark spiritual entity? What is your definition of that? What is that? Because what it sounds like, and again, I don't know her, but what it sounds like is when someone says dark spiritual entity, you think about that on a spiritual plane. And any vulnerability that you feel when you're watching a scary movie, and you open up your awareness to then kind of be inundated by other thoughts that are in connection to what you're feeling in that moment, that has nothing to do with spirituality. Nothing. It has nothing to do with attachment. The language of entity, I would have a slight agreement, but it depends on how you define the word entity. For me, entity would be any kind of amorphous energy that has an imprint that just drops your frequency down. That doesn't mean demon, which is the language that you utilize. That doesn't mean demon. That doesn't mean anything nasty. It just means a lower vibration than high. A lower vibration than high. So, the first part of the statement, total agreement with you. Second part of it, I would need to know what your definition is, because what you're doing is you're working with how we think as humans. We think spiritual energy attachment or entity, we think evil. We think nasty, we think harmful. And that language already presets your idea of what kind of experience you are going to go into. So it is a non-educated response. That response does not educate the collective. I don't care how long you've been in service. I don't care how many clients you work with. That is a non-educated response. It doesn't help because it just makes them fearful. It just makes them avoid horror movies. And I would never tell you to avoid horror movies. If you don't want to watch horror movies, then don't watch them. But our goal is to understand what happens when my energy levels drop into vulnerability, what kind of experiences I could have after that based on the kind of experiences based on my body frequency.